Hey, my gorgeous loves. Welcome back to Abby the Philosopher. I'm Abigail, and today's video is about taking your power by deciding. You need to decide, okay? Today's video is about becoming a woman and not being a girl anymore. The difference between a woman who gets the best for her life, whose desires come to fruition, right? A woman who is leading the life of her dreams, a woman who has become or is becoming the woman of her dreams versus a girl, right? A girl who complains, who just kind of hopes that someone's gonna come save her, that someone's gonna come change things for her, right? A girl who hopes, who believes in fairy tales. The woman of your dreams, she also believes in fairy tales. That's why she can dream. That's why she has a vision, and that is why she is becoming the woman of her dreams. She has a dream, right? But the difference between the two is this other fantasy is obtainable. She is gonna make it happen. Whereas the girl, that remains a fantasy, right? So, as a young woman, or just as a woman, you want to decide. That's what makes the difference, okay? This is why it's so important to decide. So I want to emphasize on why making a decision, deciding, is your power, okay? At its core, it's expressing your free will, and it is being independent. And that right there is your power, okay? Because you're not a victim, you are powerful, and you are not powerless. You are not a victim. You have a choice. One of my favorite phrases is, if you don't like something, change it. You have free will, change your life. Basically, no one's gonna come save you. Like, these are some of my favorite phrases is, you decide. And also, if no one has done it, decide that you will be the first one. That's very key. So yeah, so decision making is one of the greatest forms of personal power, like I said. It determines the direction of your life, right? When you have vision, that comes from decision making. Like, you've made a decision. That's why you went to sort out a vision, right? A lot of the times, like, the thing about a vision, right? Your purpose for your life, you need to kind of be still or tap in at least to get to catch that vision, to catch that decision. By decision, I mean, say the decision that God's made for you to be great. You need to catch it. So, every single decision we make, that is literally, it's like building blocks to becoming the woman of our dreams, right? To becoming whatever it is we desire. So yeah, in order to express free will, because to me, free will is so important. Understanding that God made me and God has given me free will, right? Free will to do good or bad. Understanding that, that's my power, right? From that free will, that is where we can do anything. If we, you know how the Bible says, like, if you tell that mountain move, it'll move. If you have faith as small as a grain of salt, a sesame seed. Yeah, sesame seed. I almost said a grain of salt. I was cooking earlier, so my mind is thinking about the salt. But yeah, if your mind is set on, if you decide anything, you will be able to make it happen, you know? So if God's given me the permission to decide, I have to do, I have to give it my best shot. The number one reason you need to decide is you need to understand that decision making is you taking control over your life. Okay? Making a decision, you decide what your path is instead of like just surrendering to whatever comes your way. Any garbage that happens, and this is why I love speaking about standards, you guys. When you also like knowing your worth, right? Knowing your worth produces healthy, appropriate, correct standards, right? Your standards come from knowing your worth. Whatever you believe your worth to be is what you are going to align with your standards. You're going to accept anything. If someone throws garbage at you, you're going to accept that. You know, if your worth is not, if you have a bad view or understanding about your worth. So when you decide your path, you're gonna be like, you're in the position of picking and choosing. You're not just accepting any garbage, you know? And also like, a lot of people, when we hesitate to make decisions, we often feel stuck and powerless, basically at the mercy of our circumstances. Have you noticed how, like, the minute that you start to procrastinate, and I've been so guilty of this, you guys, I'm a work in progress, and the minute that you start to procrastinate and kind of just overthink something, instead of just being like, okay, this sounds kind of hard and complicated, but I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to think about how complicated it is, how, you know, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to start with each step, right? Like, in that moment when we are not deciding, when we're not taking action, we feel powerless. There's a reason we feel powerless. It's because indeed, deciding is power. Okay? We are not hopeless, helpless. And that's something you need to rewire in your mind, re-engineer in your mind to understand. It's all in the mind, you guys. Yeah, so like, if you decide, even if you make mistakes, if you decide and you keep moving forward and you shape your own experiences, you know, you overcome. It's different. Your story is different. That's the turning point. That's what makes you different from everyone else, you know? So number 2 is, you know, confidence. Confidence to me is such a complex idea. It's very complex because confidence is produced by different things, but it's also like everything is tied in together. In a previous video, I talked about how confidence is knowing a certain fact about yourself or a situation, and it gives you that, it empowers your mind, it empowers your actions, how you respond to life, with a positivity, with a certainty that, yeah, this is gonna happen. And that same positivity, like that same decisiveness, that's what causes you to thrive. So, however, in this video, I'm going at it from a different angle, which is your choice decision making. It creates confidence. That's number 2. It creates confidence. You know, indecisiveness, it breeds self-doubt. Okay? When you're dwelling in that place of indecision, you are basically planting seeds of doubt. The more you're just chilling there in indecision, like you're not doing anything, you are like just watering that tree of doubt. It's growing, it's growing. Remember guys, our energy, wherever we put it, that thing grows. It can be something stinking, rotten, horrible. It's gonna grow. The more we put our energy there, it'll grow. Just like jealousy. The more we like entertain jealousy and feed it, even like gossip, all these bad things like in our hearts, the more that we harbor like evil thoughts and like compare ourselves to others, that's gonna grow, right? Instead of us growing, all the energy that we were supposed to be putting in developing ourselves and developing like these good characteristics, we're investing there. You know, instead of watering our own gardens of like being someone of good character, integrity, someone who is confident in themselves, who's detached and not reacting. If you're not watering that, putting your energy there, it's lacking and it all goes the other side, right? So the more you practice like making decisions, you become more and more confident in your ability to handle whatever comes, you know, anything. You start to walk in the world like, yeah, I belong here. Because one of the things I love to say is, in whatever room you walk into, you want to own the space. You want to take up space. Take up that position, okay? One thing with me, right? My name. Oh, guys. Like, over the recent years, I started to really own my name, right? I really like my name. And I started to own it by, like, I speak good things over my name. I speak positivity. I declare and decree life over my name. It's so important because your words have power and your name is a word, right? And the more that you speak that name, like even meanings of names are very powerful. The more that you speak that name, that word over yourself, the more that manifests into your life, right? So what I started doing, I started speaking good things over my name. I always speak good things. And now when I introduce myself, I would often say my name with time. I'll take my time. I will be present. I look at everyone, especially in public settings. Maybe it's a situation where I'm giving a speech or I'm introducing myself in corporate, or, you know, or introducing myself to people. I own that moment. I own that space because that's my space, right? And I will say it. My name is Abigail Muna Lula. That is my surname. And I say it and I take my time. And I've noticed that people pay attention. And I look at everyone in their eyes, not in a creepy way. I look at them because I'm addressing them. And I say it and I'm present. I'm letting them know that this is who I am. I'm here now. And they pay attention. There's something powerful about that, right? That that is confidence right there. That is me exercising confidence. So yeah, you want to step into yourself. So when you walk into a room like that, when you exist in rooms like that, exuding all that confidence, it's because you've decided, okay? It doesn't mean that the nerves are not there. You are feeling the nerves and you are in the moment, right? There's so much going on that it's very easy and tempting to react to what's going on in your environment. But you decided long ago who you are and you stuck true to that. Have you guys, do you guys relate with that moment where you would, for example, you know that, okay, maybe you're going to give a speech or you're going to introduce yourself. Maybe it's at work or something. You need to introduce yourself to multiple people. And so you're like, you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to, stand like this with really good posture, etc. And a lot of the times you are saying that out of authenticity of who you are. That's you, right? That's how you truly feel. But then you go into the room, right? And because you didn't decide, when you get into the room, you hear maybe your colleagues introducing themselves in uncertainty. And because us as human beings, we're wired we want validation, and we're wired to not stick out, not stand out. We need to fit in the clan, right? That's how we wire. That's what we used to. Because of that, when we hear that our colleague, because most people are not confident, most people will not show up as the best versions of themselves. They won't present that way. So the people who went before you, they might be very shy, timid, or act very coy about who they are. And maybe try to exude this humility, and you decide, okay, you know what, I'm not going to say all that I was going to say. It will be weird. It's good to read a room. That's very true. Having discernment and having nuance about a situation, that's very key. Having that emotional intelligence and discernment is important. However, at the same time, now you decide to change, okay? Because you didn't decide before you walked in. You did not decide for real. And now you flake, right? You change your mind and then you just say, oh, I'm Abigail. Blah, blah, blah. So you say it something like that. So lame, and you say it without confidence. And afterwards, you feel it. You don't feel so good, right? But you feel like, oh, well, I settled. At least I fit in with the crowd. And that is something that I want to work on. I don't like that. I am naturally a very confident personality. Like, my personality naturally, I'm very assertive and confident. And I've seen myself, like, in the moments where I've been shy, I've seen myself teach myself that I'm not a shy person, And I do feel like it has shot me in the foot in the past. Or, at present day, it has shot me in the foot because it's pretending. And becoming a woman is also, being comfortable in your own skin, being confident in who you really are, maturing in that way, So basically, how you walk into a room, like, you're making a decision, that's how you are going to be confident, is to know something and it doesn't change. It stays the way you know it, right? No matter the circumstance. And that's how standards work. No matter the circumstance, they stay. And that's why they say that, a lot of people would say, oh, I want a confident woman. Like a lot of men would say they want a confident woman, or a lot of people in general, they just say they want that. They want someone with standards, right? And someone with standards is someone who's confident in themselves. That is what's so alluring about someone with standards, The irony in that, we think that, like, if you're a recovering people pleaser like me, you think that, oh, I just need to I need to just make everyone happy and be this thing. And, thank goodness, there's been a lot of healing in that area of people pleasing. But it's interesting, the irony. We think that when we try and make people happy at the expense of ourselves, that they will be happy. But funny enough, they then prefer the one who makes themselves happy first, So yeah, decision making also builds trust with yourself. When you trust yourself, you become unstoppable. You're unstoppable. When you trust yourself, my goodness, that you got yourself, right? You got you. You know that everything will work out. So that's self-trust. That's very key. Because like a lot of the times, like to make big moves in our lives, it takes a fearlessness. It takes very unique actions to make things happen, to stand out. You have to stand out to be the best. That's the thing. And you have to be fearless and trust yourself that, oh my gosh, yes, this is scary, but I'm gonna trust that this is the right thing. And you have to trust the process. And it's always long term. It's never short term. Because in the short term, what feels right is to just be a sheep. Okay, sheep is a good thing. If we think of like in the context of the Bible, but let me use the example, like just following. Sheep follow. That's a good thing. With sheep, it's in the context of following the right path, the right way. So that's a good thing. You follow the right path. You trust your maker, trusting him. So that context is right. But in the world, just following without just following like that, basically following the crowd, you are not going to make the big moves. Yeah, that is normal. People just follow. They just follow. Okay. Yeah. So number 3, free will and responsibility, they go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. Decision making is directly tied to free will, because it means accepting responsibility for your actions, consequences, right? My goodness, maturity. You're not just reacting to life. You're not just reacting and then being a victim. Reacting and then like, oh, well, woe is me, this happened, oh, oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. My goodness, it's a horrible position to be in. You're actively shaping your life. You're choosing your dream self. Okay? You're choosing your best self. You're shaping your life. This is why many people fear making decisions. They do not want to be responsible for the outcome. The thing is, with making a decision, there are there are outcomes, good and bad outcomes. And remember how I said, when I said that it's a long-term investment to make decisions that are true to yourself, true to your path, to your vision, to your plan, right? Whatever that plan is, whether it's to become the president one day, that's a long-term plan. And the decisions you're going to make, they are going to be consequences right now that might be negative, but those are short-term. They're happening now. But in the long term, the best consequences are coming. Okay? That's the thing. Like, if you can understand it that way, it's a sacrifice. You know? Owning your choices, good or bad, makes you savage, okay? It makes you that girl. If you can own whatever, that it gives you power. You are powerful. And that is something that I've been practicing. And I will say, like, the minute that I started doing that in my life, something changed about me. It was amazing. It's like all of a sudden I could feel how magnetic I became. People admire it. People are drawn to people like that. Like, I could see how powerful that was when I could just own it, you know? And that is freedom. It frees you to own up and be like, yeah, this is me, you know? I like nicer things. I like finer things in life, and this is me. And if you want to label me all these words, be my guest. I don't care. I will be enjoying the finer things that I like, okay? Why not? Why can't I have those finer things, you know? That's me. I remember saying this to my brother this other time. I remember saying to him the same thing. Like, he knows me well, and I remember saying to him, I don't remember what it was we were discussing. I think we were discussing an event or something that had happened. And I said to him, hey, you know, by the way, I'm okay. I'm completely okay with being called vain. I'm at that point now. Just because I value taking care of my appearance. I love myself. Why wouldn't I take care of myself, you know? Just because I value putting in effort into like anything I do, just because I want nicer things, just because I will look at the appearance of someone and make a judgment from that, you know? Yes, I will seek to treat people fairly and, you know, according to my beliefs and my values, but at the same time, I'm gonna be quite picky if I have certain friendships, or, you know, I'm gonna be very intentional about how they look, you know, how people look, how someone looks on the outside. I'm sorry to play devil's advocate and say that I actually believe that a lot of how someone presents on the outside, of course, it reflects what's on the inside, and it doesn't mean that they're a horrible person, evil person. No, but it definitely communicates some things to me. When I see someone who doesn't like take care of their appearance or like take care of themselves, I already know that maybe we don't have the same values. I know that, okay, like, maybe this person doesn't care too much about themselves. Do they have good boundaries? Do they have good boundaries with themselves as far as like, okay, I'm gonna take a shower, I'm gonna take care of myself, you know? Like, I'm gonna comb my hair, I'm gonna yeah, things like that are important to me. I'm not saying be the most, I don't know, well-groomed person, and no, it's not that deep. Simply, I am going to look on the outward appearance. So I said to him, I'll take it. They can call me shallow and vain. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? That's something I've accepted, and that's me. That's a decision I've made because that's a standard to me. That's a standard for myself, and if if the consequence of having that standard is being called vain, I'll take it. Then I'm probably vain, and that's okay. So, number 4 is, you know, when you're indecisive, you're basically giving up your own power. When you refuse to decide, right? You are letting someone or something decide for you. Something else. They are deciding for you. It is deciding for you, whatever it is. Okay? Be it generational curses, it's deciding for you, babe. It is deciding for you. And that's a scary thing. Because, like, when we think of generational curses, when we think of, like, things like addiction, domestic violence, all these things, if you don't make a decision, if you don't be proactive to make a change, to decide, okay, I want different. This is what I want. This is my vision. This is my dream self. It's going to happen. It's on default mode. And unless you come and manually change it, it's on default mode. And that's very scary. Okay? It's going to be decided for you. An example is if you, for example, want to start up a business, maybe a business is for you, a business is not for everyone. Everyone wants something different, and that's their decision. They've decided, right? But let's say you want to have a business one day, or at least now, it's been due. You want to have a business, and all that you're waiting for is, like, you're just you're indecisive, making excuses, procrastinating, etc., etc. If you keep working that job, and say you're working a job, you're working for your boss is going to keep making decisions for you. You wanted to be an entrepreneur so that you could make your own decisions. They're going to make your decisions for you. You're going to have to sign NDAs that you do not want to sign. You're going to have to say things or not say things just because of your job, policies, whatever it is, right? You are not your own person, and you're going to be controlled, So yeah, you're surrendering your power, basically. Whether it's society, other people, or circumstances, when you avoid decisions, it means you're giving up control. Powerful people make choices. They weigh their options, and then they commit and they take action. I mean, when we think of these powerful leaders, in the world, there's Donald Trump. Many may not like him, or they may like him, but we're not talking about that. Look at, for example, Donald Trump. He's a great example. There are decisions he makes. The man is decisive. He makes decisions and he owns them, bad or good. The same with Putin, the Like all these people, like, okay, Elon Musk, I'm using like controversial like people who are controversial, whether I'm a fan of them or not, I'll keep that to myself because that's not the point here. But Elon Musk's, the who else? I'm thinking of who else? Candace Owens and people who are very controversial. They they say what they say, and yeah, they say what they say. Even Cat Williams, they say what they say, right? But they've decided, and it's controversial. There's all these consequences, but they've decided and they own it. I'm thinking of who else. What is that other comedian who would also say a lot, and there'd be consequences, like really intense consequences. So, but the power that they get, like these are powerful people, right? Look at Kanye West, right? Very controversial. I'm not defending him or not defending him. I'm neutral. But they say very controversial things. But look at how powerful these people are. They make impact, right? So they are in control of their lives. You know, they've decided. So yeah, you weigh the options, commit, and take action. So number 5, decisions create momentum, right? You know, a single decision, as small as a decision can be, right? It can change everything. And right now, we can even talk about or think about the book Atomic Habits. This one is very key. This point is very key with Atomic Habits, where you stack habits, right? Is it called habit stacking? When you make that little decision, the same thing with routines, right? I'm not someone who enjoys routines and all of that. I have ADD, and that is attention deficit disorder, and it is where you struggle to focus on one thing at a time, and you enjoy spontaneity. It's kind of overwhelming doing tasks. Like small tasks are very overwhelming, so we tend to not like routines because they make us feel very drained and exhausted. It's a lot of mental work because yeah, like it takes a lot of thinking just to do one task. So as much as I don't enjoy that, as much as I don't like it, like whenever I'm in a routine, the first day, okay, it's fine, I'll do it. Second day, it's fine. And then the third day, I start feeling agitated. Like, no, like I want to go against that routine because now I'm bored. I can't, it drives me insane, you know. Whereas, if I understand correctly, ADHD, which is different, they're quite similar, but it's different. They prefer routines, like everything needs to go the same way. They're sensitive to like change, to things happening in the environment. They feel it more. According to my friend who has ADHD, and it's interesting our dynamic when we kind of get to observe each other. but yeah, naturally I do not like routines. And whereas my friend who has ADHD, he wants the routine, and he needs the routine to survive. Otherwise he feels overwhelmed and restless and all of that. Whereas for me, I don't like the routines. I love just being spontaneous and everything, but it's not good for me. So I always have to implement structure for myself. Otherwise, I don't get things done. You know, so like I said, making the decision creates momentum. And this one I resonate with so much in my own life, because once I start a task, that's why I give myself small tasks as long as I decide to start. That momentum carries me. So, so momentum, it comes from moving in a direction. And you can only move in a direction when you decide. Right? You have to decide, are you going left, right, straight? You'll figure out. If you don't know where, you'll figure it out. It's just like if you're looking for a certain place. Maybe you're in an environment you don't know yet. You don't know, or maybe you know the environment, but you don't know where a certain spot you're looking for is. Someone will direct you and say, you go straight, you go left, you go, and you're like, okay, you know what? When I get there, I'm gonna start, and then I'll meet someone over that side, and I will find a way. I will find out when I get there whether I'm hot or cold, So you can only start your journey like that. It's the same thing with I was having this conversation with my brother the other day. My brother has just started, he's starting to study and work right now. He just finished high school. So we were talking about career paths and all of these things. And most of us, we start out in our careers not knowing where we're going. We don't even know what we want to do. But you have to start somewhere, right? So yeah, with that momentum, it'll get you there. And if you later adjust your course, taking action, it moved you closer, you're now ahead. And the worst thing is stagnation, where you neither grow nor evolve because you fear choosing. And that's a big thing, especially in the religious world, community. And mind you, I'm Christian, okay? I'm Christian, and I do not subscribe to religiousness, which is basically rules and routines and traditions that are empty, that are not the true essence of faith. So in this context, like of the true essence of what the Bible speaks about, what the good news is. I'm not for religiousness, religion. So, and the thing about now religiousness, you don't truly understand it. You don't truly understand faith. You're just going by rules, traditions, and laws, and all of that. In the religious culture, it's very sad how people have this belief like, oh, they're cursed, and they will say that they're stagnant, they're not moving forward in their lives, and they will blame that on spirituality alone. And that is true. Let me tell you, I strongly believe in this, that there is a spiritual realm. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but by principalities and principalities and entities, etc. There is forces, there is definitely a lot that goes on in the spiritual realm, but we also need to understand that the physical and the spiritual realm are not separate. That's what I believe. The spiritual realm is as simple as saying words in the physical realm. It's not separate. And your beliefs are tied into the spiritual realm. They will produce in the spiritual realm. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your words, there's power in them. Okay? So the way that the religious community tends to, a lot of religious people, they tend to say, oh no, I'm like stagnant because someone, someone practiced witchcraft against them, or you know what I mean, and they're still not choosing, and they stay in that. They're like, oh yeah, um my mother was also this, my father was also, my grandfather, and they stay in that generational curse. But one thing that, like, us religious folk, although I don't claim to be religious, I'm not religious, after what I've explained it to be the difference, right? Because, for example, what I mean as a Christian is that my faith is in Jesus, living according to his ways, right? It is having a relationship with Jesus, with God, my creator, and becoming more like him. Because becoming more like him produces life. He's showing me a way out, because there's a lot of destructiveness in this world, right? There's a lot that causes death. Sin causes death. And he's showing me how to live, how to produce fruits of life, right? Through him, right? So it's in relationship with him, understanding and accepting that I'm loved by him unconditionally, and that I'm called to love him at that standard too, you know? And it's not based in just works. Yes, because I love him, I will obey him, but because I decide, right? Because I've decided to love him, I've decided to follow him, I will obey him. But it's not my works that guarantee me to be, it's not me leaning in my works, in routines and rituals and laws and all of that. Anyway. So as I was saying, what we need to understand, and I needed to understand this in my life as well. When we see stagnation in our lives, we need to act. Apart from praying, because praying is part of it. You do have to pray. You need to contend in the spiritual realm. Speak words of life, renouncing things, right? Need to pray. And together with prayer, because the Bible says faith without works is nothing. The same praying that you've done, now act. Now do it. You've been empowered. In the spiritual realm, you've prepared. You have laid a fertile foundation. Now plant. Now not prep. Now act. And be consistent. Maintain it. Okay? So, yeah, that is very key. We need to act. And that's the aspect we miss out on. You will be seeing poverty and, generational poverty and all of this. But people don't act. People are lazy. People have strongholds on their minds. They have certain beliefs that are caging them. It may not be a demon or, a spirit, but it is their mind that is the spirit against them. We tend to be our biggest enemies, our biggest opposition. So number 6 is, freedom comes from choosing. One of my core values is freedom. So for those out there who don't know what core values are, or a value is what you deem as important in your life, but it's core to your being, to who you are, to the extent that when you lead your life, when you live your life, every decision that you make needs to align and support your value, support what's important to you. If you say that honesty is your core value, is a value to you, it's important, that would mean that in a situation where you are being tested or you are having to choose between honesty and deception or dishonesty, you are going to choose honesty because that is your value, that is your standard, that is your true north, your compass, that you're leading your life no matter what circumstance, because circumstances change, life changes all the time, but what remains are the principles of life, the laws of life. What you put in, you will get out. What you sow, you will reap, right? What you speak over your life will come into fruition. The principles, those principles stay true. No one can oppose them, right? I mean, only God, but he stands on his word, basically. The Bible says God does not oppose his own word, you know? So yeah, anyway, so freedom being my core value, it's so important to me. Everything I do, you know, I'm choosing freedom. Freedom is very important to me. And with time, when I was understanding my core values, because core values are what you decide for yourself, you choose them. I had to sit down and find out what my core values are, write them down, and I was like, okay, I don't like this core value. I think I want to change that, because your core values are literally what you're doing, whether they're bad or good. If you're someone who lies, your core values are lying. Even though you may state that you are an honest person, you are lying because that is not the truth. Because when circumstances really come, when the tests come, you choose deception. So your true core value, your true nature as a person, you're probably a lying person. But then you have a choice, you have free will to be like, nope, I don't want to be a liar, because that produces fruit that you don't want, because deception has consequences too, you know, all sorts of consequences. So you can decide that, you know what, from now on, I choose honesty. And I'm going to make a video on this topic. I'm very excited about it. I have a lot to share on core values, core beliefs, very important, because those are the foundations of our being. They're the foundations then of our lives, because every decision we make comes out of our values and our beliefs, subconsciously or consciously, whether we like it or not. And that's why we need to go back and rewire them. So when I'd written down that freedom was my core value, so the thing with me, to me, freedom is choosing, is having the option of whether or not something happens in my life. So for me, I wanted freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want, you know, etc. Because I'm an artist at the core, and I want to be able to invest into my creativity, into my art, etc. whenever I feel like it. So freedom is one of my core values. So when it came to the type of work that I want, the type of lifestyle, the type of marriage that I want, a partnership, all of these things, freedom has always been important to me. In my friendships, do I feel free? So when I was learning that, I also started to understand that I added the core value power to my list, because I realized that, hey, I actually want power. And I always was scared of the idea of power, because when I think of, I would always think of like power is in war, like, do I want power? Like, when we think of power, we think of like oppressive, oppressive dynamic. When we look at history, like people who coveted, who were so hungry for power. I don't want that kind of power, like in politics, etc. But rather, this is a power of like, I wanted control for my life. There were times where I felt so out of control in my life, right? And when God gave me that revelation of like, I have a choice. He's given me free will. I came to understand, oh my gosh, I have power. I'm not a victim. I have a choice. I can have what I desire, my heart's desires. That changed my life. That changed my life. So yeah, basically, true freedom isn't just having options. It's having the courage to pick one and commit. And this is something that I find quite challenging because, yeah, I often, it sounds exciting to have all these options, but also being responsible is being courageous enough to be like, you know what, I'm going to stick to one thing. Do you see the maturity in all of this as a woman, right? How a woman walks and not a girl. That is maturity. She commits. Most things in this life, for them to succeed, to flourish, for us to achieve the best, right? If you open up a company, you become a CEO. For you to become that CEO, you have to have the courage to pick and stick to it, commit, and just invest, give it your all. So yeah, because most people also, people who don't make decisions, they often feel trapped, even when they have choices available. They feel trapped, right? Too many options, and this is our generation today. There's too many options, too much variety, and we often think, oh no, I don't have enough choices, I don't have enough variety. And that's the problem right there, right? But we can overcome this thing. We can be this generation that is so privileged to have all these options. We can be empowered that we have all these options, meaning the sky is the limit and the possibilities are endless. And then we choose freedom. We choose freedom by making an action, so we can be that generation that's empowered by deciding, because freedom exists in action and not just potential, okay? Not in potential. It's interesting how also at the same time, you can have potential for something, you can have that privilege, but if you don't act in that potential, you're not utilizing it, and then you're not free, you're bound again. So yeah, number 7, every decision reinforces your identity, right? This is a big one, okay? When we talk about becoming the best version of yourself, becoming your dream version of yourself, becoming that dream woman, right? And in this point, I want to emphasize more from a feminine point of view, even though we're talking about a woman. If you decide that you want to be a feminine woman, because becoming a woman is already a challenge in itself, right? It's a journey. It's a beautiful journey. But also becoming a feminine woman is another challenge. Because of the generation that we're in, femininity is something that most of us women are wounded in. We fear becoming that. And this is very key to our identity. I'm talking now to the women who resonate, who want to be feminine. Those who do not resonate with that, this is not for you. So I also acknowledge that, we are all different. But for women who want to become feminine, they feel that awakening in them. Years ago, I didn't resonate with femininity. I was very girly. There's a difference. I was a very girly girl, but I was not feminine. There's a difference. There is a difference in the energy. It's very different. So yeah, this is now when you make a decision, right? You know that, okay, I want to be a feminine woman. This is the vision that I see for myself. You maybe make your vision board. You decide, okay, this is how I want. You list what you want. You list how you want to look, how you want to behave, appear. You list why, and you list why you don't want to be not feminine, or why are you making this decision to be a woman as well. You know that, okay, it's time to grow up. When you are in that process, how you start walking and moving into that path of yours, let's say you do all the research, you learn how to become that feminine woman. It doesn't help you knowing all the information, and I've been guilty of this. I would learn so much, nothing wrong with that. I would learn so much, read books, listen to podcasts, whatever resource or material, I would take it in, but I would neglect practicing it, right? Making a decision and acting on it. Whatever we hear, it doesn't help if we are listening, but we're not doing it. And I remember when a lot changed in my life when I started to act on my decisions. Yes, on my decisions, because sometimes we decide but we don't act. So much changed, and I started, things stopped feeling so overwhelming. Things started making sense, and because I would start with one aspect or one thing, literally one thing, I would start seeing that the other aspects of who I am were falling into place, and later I would learn more about, when I'm doing this, it is empowering my femininity as a woman. It is maturing me as a woman, and therefore I'm becoming more feminine. It's like it would confirm those things. It would confirm what I was doing, even though organically I would start doing certain things, developing certain habits, feeling certain ways, all positive, of course. And I wouldn't know that actually that is part of I'm doing the right thing. But because I started out with doing one step, the other steps fell into place. And later when I'd go back to the drawing board, looking at the instructions, I would see that, okay, the next thing I need to work on is this, and I would be like, oh my gosh, I'm already working on that. It's truly empowering. Do you see how it's your power? It's truly empowering. It's beautiful. So it plays into your identity. The choices that you make, they define who you are. They define who you are. Every single time that you get an opportunity to choose, you see it as you get to have an opportunity to become more like your dream self. It's a beautiful thing. So if you decide, your dream self wakes up at 5 a.m. as opposed to waking up at right before you need to leave, 10 minutes before you need to leave, it's a decision that you need to make, whether you will snooze the alarm button or no, you know? So it's that choice. It's that choice of deciding you're coming closer to that, to you are coming closer to who she is by every single decision that you make. And every decision that you slack or you compromise, the further back you are from becoming the that true version of yourself, the dream version of yourself. And or you stay in stagnation. And then sometimes you might feel like, oh, it's spiritual, you know? It's spiritual. Someone is doing this to me, but it's our decisions. We are empowered. We decide, you know? Your will is very powerful, okay? Prayer and all of that is very important. It's not even an option. It is vital. At the same time, you know, it is tied in with will, with your will to fight. So last but not least, number 8 is decision making leads you to master your life. When you master decision making, it leads to mastering your life. And I believe that we are placed on this earth to master things. We are to master different aspects of ourselves, of our lives. We are so complex as human beings. For example, mastering how well to take care of yourself in your diet, how well to take care of your health, how well to raise children, mastering how well to have healthy relationships, how well to be contributing in your community, be it at work or just in your community in general. Mastering how well to sharpen your talents, and it's mastery. That is one of my favorite words, is mastery. Very powerful word is mastery. Okay? If you can master things, mastery is what attracts wealth. It's what attracts empowerment. You have power to do anything. When you master things, it attracts accolades, it attracts respect. Like a lot of what us in our human nature desire and crave, right? In society, what we crave in a communal sense, it comes from mastery. One example would be one of the areas in my life that I feel like stands out is I'm good at being organized. And the more that I'm being organized, in a sense, we'd call that's mastery of organization, right? Did I say that right? But that has caused me to stand out. Even when I was not highlighting that, most people would say, yeah, Abigail, we want to nominate you to do this task, to lead this project because of your outstanding organizational skills. Because I've mastered that. It has attracted these opportunities. It has attracted this record for me. It attracts all these good things. So the most successful people aren't those who never fail. It's never the people who never fail. Never. I think this is why I recommend reading, listening to autobiographies of people, because of great people, because you will hear how much they failed. There's no way that they became successful and never failed. No way, In fact, they are the biggest failures a lot of the times. I've heard of like so many CEOs, billionaires, and they'd say, "Oh, I've been bankrupt how many times?" you know? And that takes fearlessness. They 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 are those people who make clear, strong decisions and then they learn from them. They're fearless. They decide. So the ability to make to decide quickly and wisely is what separates leaders from followers. That's what makes the difference. It's not that they're so special and they're this and they're that. Maybe as special. You may have also the same talents, etc., but they decided. So yeah, decision making is power. It is power. It's the ultimate expression of free will, ladies. Us as women, we need to be decisive. We need to be that woman. If you want like the desires of your heart, you want amazing things, beautiful things, whatever it is, right? You want to be empowered, whatever you want, because us women, we love nice things. If you want to be able to sustain yourself and give yourself all the beautiful things, all the nice things first and foremost before someone else can give that to you, you have to decide. You have to become a strong-willed woman. That's the difference. You decide that you said that you would start up a charity, even if you don't feel like waking up the next morning. You have to decide it. What is the difference between a woman and a girl? Right? So, my beautiful ladies, thank you so much for watching, for listening. I had so much fun, and yeah, let's go out and be the women of our dreams, and let's be women who take power, like who take charge. Let's take action because we are empowered. So until next time, see you guys soon. Love you lots, like Jelly Tot.